The cost of living and the crisis that has been created by Donald Trump has declared war on working people.
Joining me now, a member of the House Ways and Means and Intelligence Committees, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Congresswoman, it's great to see you, and you are from the blue state of New York. How do you explain the differences here, and why is this not a bigger part of messaging from the Republicans as we head into the 2026 midterms?
You know, Cheryl, it's great to see you as always. It is part of the messaging. The problem is Republicans need to find places to message that the Democrats are. First of all, they own most of the mainstream media, and they also are very active when it comes to social media. And we need to do that as Republicans because there is really good news. I mean, what we did with the tax cut bill and renewing the Trump tax cuts of 2017 and adding so much more into the working families tax cut, it is incredible what you're going to see. I mean, obviously, we continued the great tax cuts that help the lower and middle income taxpayers, but especially small businesses that drive the economies in places like my region in upstate New York, where small businesses dominate, and 95% of the people go to work in a small business. They're going to get expensing, lower tax cuts, greater investment, and you're seeing no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, helping senior citizens with their Social Security by giving them a tax cut. But what are blue states like New York doing? They're targeting the good gains that we're going to be seeing from the Republicans and from President Trump this year. They're doing things like penalizing people who are getting benefits from no tax on tips. They're calling them add backs. They're actually going to ask for more taxes to be paid because of the good work we're doing on the federal side. All that we've done to give more people money in their wallets, the state of New York and other blue states are going to take away because the only message they have is it's the economy, stupid, the old relic from Bill Clinton. But the problem is the economy is doing really well. We saw growth, as we see, 4.3%, inflation down. The market is doing very well. We're getting record amount of money coming in from the tariffs and other things that all, where the doomsayer said we weren't going to do well. So the Democrats are going to try to use this great economy and just be the naysayers. I agree with Secretary Bessent. 2026 is going to be a banner year for the economy.
Right. No, and certainly that plays into that question about the messaging and why the Republicans haven't been able to really win that yet. But there is time, of course, until the midterms. We've got 11 months. But there's now, in the immediate term, another threat of a government shutdown. Another one. Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett says it's going to happen. Some Republican lawmakers are not ruling out another budget reconciliation, reportedly discussing using tariff revenues to send direct payments to taxpayers, try and offset rising health care costs once the Obamacare subsidies expire next week. So I want to get your thoughts on that because one of the biggest drivers of affordability, or the lack thereof, is health care. There's all these different competing plans and discussions being held. How can the Republicans get on one page when it comes to health care? Because the calendar is not your friend, Congresswoman.
Right. Well, Cheryl, this is such an important point. The two biggest drivers to the so-called affordability, rising inflation and increasing costs, are energy. I just look at the state of New York. Catastrophic energy policy is causing our prices to be higher than almost anywhere else because of the war on energy. President Trump, and in the one big beautiful bill and the working families tax cut, we unleashed American energy. We are now seeing production. That's going to continue to drive prices down. I filled up my car the other day. It was $2.48 for gas. It's been up over $5 in my region under Joe Biden. So that's one factor. The other thing that is just the biggest, myth of all is the Democrats created Obamacare 15 years ago. It was an insurance scheme. The only people who have gotten rich on Obamacare are the insurance companies, while the working people and the rest of us have gotten poorer, have seen more money taken out of our payroll or even paid more shelling out without even a payroll for health care. Health care is a problem created by the Democrats.
It is.
And they're going to try to shift that blame on us.
I agree. I agree with you, Congresswoman. Well, the problem is that if you don't extend those subsidies, and there's some Republicans saying at least extend them for a year, then the problem is messaging for 2026.
This is the actual truth, as opposed to the messaging that you're reiterating from the Democrats, which is important. The truth is, if we continue those subsidies, the cost for American families is going to continue to go up, and the insurance companies are going to get even bigger profits coming out of this. So it's really, if you increase the subsidies, you're only going to cost more to the small business owners and the people that are paying the insurance fees, not the insurance companies. So the subsidies, what the Democrats have proposed are no limits on income, no income caps on any of that, no reduction of fraud, abuse, and waste, all those things that we propose. So all those things are actually going to raise the rates and make it even more expensive. And that's what the Democrats are offering. You either give the insurance companies more money or else we're going to shut down the government. What we're trying to offer is actually a solution, how to get association health plans, how to get HSAs, how to get other ways of getting the cost down, income caps. And this is the kicker, Cheryl. The Democrats' plan, out of 330 million people in the United States, it affects 7 million. That's what those subsidies are, 7 million people, many of whom can already afford their insurance, and many of whom make over $700,000 a year.
You make great points. The devil's going to be in the details, obviously, when you come back from the holiday break. I do want to move to what's been happening overseas. We've got some new news here because President Trump announced the U.S. military carried out deadly strikes against ISIS terrorists in northwest Nigeria Christmas night. In response to the killing and kidnapping of Christians in the region, the president called the operation decisive, and he's warning further attacks would follow if the violence continues. Now, this is just 1 week after the U.S. launched airstrikes on ISIS targets in Syria, following the death of 2 American soldiers there. What is your reaction to these new strikes in Nigeria?
Well, I think that people need to understand the facts. Christians around the world are the most persecuted religion. I mean, it's been going on for many years. And one of the worst places is Nigeria, where we've seen ISIS groups operating, murdering Christians just for their religion. In Nigeria, and I think the president worked with the Nigerian authorities to carry out these strikes against ISIS. It's an existential threat to our communities to have ISIS continue to grow. The president wants to eradicate ISIS, Hamas, and these terrorist groups that are preventing these countries from emerging with prosperity. We've been giving so much aid to countries like Nigeria, and yet they're not able to actually, quell this type of murder going on in their own country. So I think the president wants to see prosperity for Nigeria, but they can't get these people out on their own. And the president is working with Nigeria to make sure that we have peace and prosperity and a chance for everyone across all religions and demographics in countries like Nigeria and other places where ISIS, has been a cancer for a long time.
Yeah. Well, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, always great to speak with you. Thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate your time.